What's up, my people? It's your girl Adeola. Sorry, I cannot shout this time around because last week when I shouted, it was bad for my audio. But Mugabe stepped down for time. Thank you, Lord. After the military said that their coup was not a coup, people went on the streets protesting that Mugabe should step down.
I'm here because I want Mugabe to go. He must go. He must go.
We will not write the exams until Mugabe steps down. We will not continue being oppressed by one person. This is not Mugabe dynasty. This is Zimbabwe, not Mugabe.
Ooh, Fata! Did you guys see hundreds of thousands of people on the streets of Harare and the military were with the protesters? I'm like, kudos to the Zimbabwean army. Yes, you know, do well. I did not know that Zimbabweans can protest like this. You know, where have you been for 37 years? Haba, my brothers and sisters. And then whoever came up with this placard, this one, I mean, bless you, bless your soul. You know, leadership is not sexually transmitted. Amen, somebody. I thought it was wonderful that the protest was broadcasted on national TV. So Mugabe and Grace saw the whole thing. I wonder how they felt, you know. Anyway, now after the protest, Mugabe addressed the nation and people were actually expecting him to step down, but he basically said no. I'm like, the devil is a liar, a big fat liar. How can you not step down after people made it clear that no longer want you? Is 37 years not enough? Is it not enough? And then their youngest son, the 21-year-old, wrote on Facebook that his father cannot be impeached. I'm like, hey, as in, yeah, but can you imagine? They were practically begging this man left and right to step down. The presidents of Zambia, of South Africa, of Angola. It was just like Yaya Jammeh of Gambia, you know. Instead of resigning, Mugabe was doing like this, doing like this.
It's doing like this. It's doing like this.
Stop it. This is a serious issue. What is wrong with you? Anyway, so the lawmakers decided to proceed with his impeachment and Mugabe had no option. Whoo, Fata! That moment, that particular moment when the speaker read his resignation letter.
I, Robert Mugabe, hereby formally tender my resignation with immediate effect.
Give me 1 minute. Yeah! But you know what I don't understand? Where were these lawmakers this whole time? Were they not part of the same government? Anyway, this is just another lesson that this life is so unpredictable. As of the beginning of this month, Grace Mugabe was still thinking that she will be the next president. Remember? And she was yabbing everybody. She was yabbing everybody. If only she knew, she would have. Now, it's okay for my people of Zimbabwe to celebrate. You know, do well. This calls for huge celebration. 37 years. Okay, I beg, celebrate. But you know, don't celebrate for too long, so you understand, because this is the time for you guys to be strategizing, considering the fact that the same politicians are still the ones in charge. Don't forget that. So you need to be strategizing so that history will not repeat itself. Now, in case you're wondering why Zimbabweans were celebrating, Mugabe actually started out as a hero.
Well, we are totally opposed to the concept of multiracialism. Everybody must be accorded his full political rights, whether he be white or black, educated or uneducated.
He even spent 11 years in prison fighting for the freedom and the independence of his people, but he later became the oppressor of the same people that he fought for. So he got in power in 1980, that was when they got their independence, but before 1990 he had already started pushing for a one-party state.
One-party state.
But people wanted a democratic country. In the late 80s, he suppressed an uprising against him by ordering the killing of 20,000 people in Matabele land.
Then he sent his special forces to slaughter the Undebele, an ethnic group that didn't support him.
The Matabele and Kukuraundi massacres were really aimed at the population in general. That was the first sign that things were going wrong.
20,000 civilians.
Beatings, the killing, the torture is unbelievable.
Kota City,
Hambili Arachi Robert Mugabe.
And of course, that made everyone afraid of him. And by 1990, he made sure that his party, the ruling party, occupied 116 out of 120 elected seats. So he practically made Zimbabwe a one-party state. I mean, whenever they talk about Zimbabwe, how many parties do you know apart from ZANU-PF? So people believe that he started rigging election after election to the point where they were finding names of dead people on the ballot paper. And of course, there was no freedom of press. Journalists were being harassed, they were being censored, some of them were jailed. And then he drove a lot of people from their lands. And I'm not talking about the white people that were attacked or killed in the name of getting back the land for black Zimbabweans. No, I'm talking about driving out black Zimbabweans so that he and his wife could use the land. Now that's crazy. That's crazy because he actually said that he was fighting for the same black people in Zimbabwe. Now he and his wife own major farms. These are big farms, including wildlife preservations and plantations up to 16,000 acres. He and his allies now own 40% of the land. Despite court injunctions, his wife evicted hundreds of families from their lands.
They came here and started demolishing my house. This place has been taken by the first lady. I nearly killed myself.
Law is only being applied to us the poor, not the elite, like Gracie and her husband.
That is really, really sad. It's so interesting because 15 years after driving out the white farmers, he wanted them back. And as a matter of fact, he brought back some of them.
Questions have surrounded Zimbabwe's land reform program since day one, from how the land was acquired, whom it was given to, and how productive they've been.
Farms deemed to be of strategic economic importance will be allowed to remain in the hands of white farmers.
People say that a lot of the black farmers who were given the land didn't know how to cultivate it. I'm not sure why they didn't teach them how to cultivate the land, but all I know is that Zimbabwe used to be referred to as the breadbasket of Africa because they were producing so much food to the point where they had more than enough and they were exporting out food to other countries, and that food exportation accounted for 40% of their foreign currency earnings. As of 2015, it is estimated that Zimbabwe has lost about $12 billion in agriculture production. So they could no longer produce enough food for the people, but not only that, they faced severe drought. In 2004, Zimbabwean journalists reported that 10,000 people died of hunger. There were also all kinds of human rights abuses and violent crackdowns on political opponents. In fact, I have a Zimbabwean friend who told me that not only was his father killed, but till today they have no idea what happened to his body. I mean, it's one thing to lose a loved one, it's another thing to have no idea what happened to the corpse because you can't even pay your last respect.
I was severely tortured and injected with a substance. They electrocuted me on my toes, my fingers and my private parts. The result is that my whole left side is now semi-paralyzed.
So because of all the human rights abuses, Zimbabwe was sanctioned by the West, and this grounded the economy of Zimbabwe. The hyperinflation got to 500 billion%. I can't even process that. So then Mugabe ordered the printing of big currencies like millions, billions, and even $1 trillion notes. That meant nothing. For you to get $5 you needed 100 trillion Zimbabwean dollars, and that could only buy you 2 loaves of bread. You know, everybody became a billionaire overnight in Zimbabwe, including little kids. But then the money was worthless. One shirt was being sold for $2.7 billion. I mean, that's almost $3 billion for one shirt. 3 eggs were being sold for $100 billion. And then when you go to the restaurant to eat, you would need like big cash like this. You would need this kind of cash just to pay for one meal.
I was once a trillionaire. Forbes magazine didn't recognize me as a trillionaire. My trillions couldn't buy even a loaf of bread.
The money became worthless to the point that people were using it as toilet paper. I'm not even kidding. I'm not joking, because public toilets, they had to start posting notices that please stop flushing the Zimbabwean dollar in our toilet. It was so bad that they actually stopped spending their own money, their own currency, that they started spending other people's currencies. There was a time they were spending Botswana pula and then South African rand. They spent Indian rupee, the euro, pound sterling, Chinese yen, Australian dollars. American dollars, all in one country. Later on, people were only allowed to withdraw only $50 a day. Imagine. So some people literally had to sleep in front of the bank waiting for another day, because if you needed $200, you would have to wait for 4 days to get it. So people were like, why even go home? Why not just stay? Just camp in front of the bank. Needless to say, Zimbabweans were scattered all over the world. Now, Nigerians are also scattered everywhere, This is not just Zimbabweans, but for a country of 16 million people, it meant a lot to them.
People are scattered all over the world. The word family doesn't mean anything to us anymore, and they only see each other on the internet.
Wow. Now, despite all this, Mugabe's family lived in opulence. Now, this is the car that their 25-year-old son was driving to school in Dubai. Keep in mind, he posted this picture on his own Instagram page. The guy travels in a private jet, and inside the jet is gold. He also posted his $14,000 pair of trainers, as in $14,000. And of course, his younger brother was showing off his $60,000 wristwatch, the one that he poured champagne on. Yes, he made a video of it. But it wasn't just Mugabe's children that were living the big life. Mugabe's brothers, their children, were also showing off their wealthy lifestyle on social media. And of course, Mugabe's wife was nicknamed Gucci Grace because she became really popular for shopping at designer stores, buying really expensive stuff. Grace Mugabe loves diamonds, to the point where there was a time she sued a Lebanese man who failed to deliver her 100-carat diamond ring, which she paid $1.3 million for. Ring, 1.3 million US dollars, not Zimbabwean dollars. So, and that's just one of several rings. She bought 12 diamond rings, 62 pairs of Ferragamo shoes, and a $100,000 Rolex watch. And of course, she has mansions. There's one of them that she called Graceland, and this is different from where she lives with Mugabe. She has her own mansions, and of course, she has a big dairy farm. And as you guys know, Grace has a 33-year-old son with her ex-husband, whom she was still married to when she became Mugabe's mistress. Yes, that's a story for another day. Mugabe was also married at the time to a Ghanaian woman, by the way, whom a lot of people actually respected. Now, that son that Grace had for her ex-husband also posted videos and pictures of his 2 Rolls-Royce custom-made limousines, which he reportedly bought with $5 million. And as you guys know, every year they were spending millions of dollars on Mugabe's birthday party. Now, what I don't understand is how all of this can be happening under your roof while your people are suffering, but then you will go to the UN and abuse everybody else. I don't get it. In any case, huge kudos to the Zimbabwean army for making this a bloodless coup. I mean, seriously, we so much appreciate that, even though they said it wasn't a coup. Now, keep in mind that the new president has ties with the military, and I'm just hoping that he would not use the military to oppress the people. It is very important that Zimbabweans make sure that they don't allow themselves to be in this situation again. I mean, if your next president is misbehaving, please do not wait for another 37 years. 37 years is it is too long. Don't wait for another 37 years to kick him out. Ben, keep in mind, by the way, that this man was also in prison for 10 years fighting for the freedom and the independence of Zimbabwe. But then after independence, he reportedly became Mugabe's hatchet man, and he allegedly was the one that was being used to silence internal opposition. In fact, he's been accused of orchestrating crackdowns that included the death of thousands of civilians.
As far as I'm concerned, he's just an extension of Robert Mugabe. Emerson Mnangagwa is no Democrat, so the world must not breathe a sigh of relief that Mugabe is gone and therefore replaced by Emerson Mnangagwa. He was a key player, part of that nucleus of Mugabe's power.
He's popularly known as the crocodile, and he's 75. So I'd like to hear from you guys. Do you think Zimbabwe is better off with this new government or not? I'd like to hear from you guys. Also, election is coming up next year. Do you think that younger people in Zimbabwe should also contest? Lastly, who do you think is next among African dictators? I mean, Theodore Obiang of Equatorial Guinea has been president now for 38 years. 38 years. And Paul Biya of Cameroon, 35 years. Denis Nguyenso of Congo Brazzaville, 33 years. Museveni of Uganda, 32 years. And of course, the Nyansigbe family family in Togo, 50 years, the list goes on. And let's not forget about the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Burundi, and also Rwanda. By the way, whenever I talk about Paul Kagame of Rwanda, some people start having issues. I'd like to hear from you guys. Do you think Kagame should also step down or not? Tell me, who do you think is next? Once again, congratulations to the people of Zimbabwe. Finally, me and Colin can visit. Who get ready to go to Zimbabwe? My Zimbabwe. We are coming to Zimbabwe live and direct. You guys know I don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real.